In this video, we will present an overview of all the clients available in PowerTerm WebConnect 5.7. We'll first start off by showing how to install the Mac client into PowerTerm WebConnect. Simply go to the Ericom FTP site and download the Mac add-on. Once the zip is downloaded, open the file and simply copy the contents of the zip to the PowerTerm WebConnect web directory, overwriting all the existing files. Now that the files have been copied, make sure that the web directory has read access for the users that will be connecting to the files from a web browser. Once the Mac component has been installed on PowerTerm WebConnect, instruct the end users to navigate to the Ericom application zone URL. As the page is being loaded, all the necessary Mac components will be downloaded and the user login prompt will appear. At this point, the user can log in with their Active Directory account. Once the user is authenticated, all the available desktops and applications will appear in the application zone. Simply double-click to launch. As the user logs into the session, the antivirus will be loaded, and any login scripts or home directories will be applied. Here, you see that the Windows application is now launched as a seamless application on the Mac desktop. This means it looks and works just like a local application. The user can launch additional applications by going back to the application zone and selecting the desired application. In this example, the WordPad application is launched using the existing RDP session. Here, we're launching a third application. All three applications are using the same RDP session, utilizing a feature called session sharing. Published applications can interact with each other. Now we'll show how you can cut or copy a selection from one application and paste it into the other. Let's go ahead and close two of the published applications. The third application we're going to put into a disconnect mode. And what this means is that the user can log back in from a different device later on and reconnect to this application. To disconnect the application, simply go to Ericom Client and quit the application zone. Now let's take a look at the Windows application zone. The user can access the application zone by going to the Ericom URL. If the user's system doesn't already have the Ericom component installed on it, the web browser can automatically download the component using ActiveX or Java. Once the component is installed, the login dialog will appear. Here, the user is logging in with its Active Directory account. And once the user is authenticated, a list of applications and desktops will appear. Any existing disconnected applications will automatically be launched. Now the user can resume the application from the last point where it was left off. When the user closes the application, the RDP session is not closed right away. It actually runs for a temporary period of time in case the user wants to launch additional applications. By having an active session already present, additional applications may be launched a lot faster. Another benefit of using the application zone is that it places shortcuts for the published resources right onto the user's desktop for easy access. If the universal printing is enabled, the user will be able to print from the remote application directly to the local print spooler without having to install the print driver on the terminal server. This allows for much easier and quicker printing. Once the user is finished with the application zone, simply click on File and Log Out. Now remember, the RDP session will continue to remain active, which can be configured by the variable RDP_logoff delay seconds. Now let's take a look at the Ericom Application Center client. When the user navigates to the Ericom URL, the application zone will be downloaded. Once the user logs in, the Application Center may be accessed through the Application Zone interface by clicking on Options and switch to Application Center View. Application Center can also be permanently set from the Administrator's Console. Application Center allows the published applications and desktops to be integrated right into Windows Explorer. This allows easy navigation between multiple Ericom PowerTerm WebConnect environments. Now let's take a look at the Web Application Portal. The Application Portal is a web-based interface where the user can log in and then select the resources that are available to him or her. What's nice about the Application Portal is that it's all web-based, so it's very easy to customize in terms of the look and feel. When the user logs in, a list of applications and desktops will be presented. When the user selects an application, all the necessary client components will be downloaded. The status of the connection will be displayed in the notifier in the lower right-hand side of the screen. Here, the seamless application has been launched. Many of the features available through the application zone, such as session sharing and universal printing, are also available through the application portal. Once the user is finished with the application, we can simply close it and then go back to the web interface and click Log Off. This will bring the page back to the Login dialog. Let's take a look at the Linux application zone. From the web browser, simply navigate to the Ericom application zone URL. When the URL is loaded, the Linux clients will be automatically downloaded. Java is required for this. Once the components are installed, the login dialog will appear, and the user can log in with its Active Directory account. Once authenticated, the user will be presented with a list of applications and desktops. To launch a desired application or desktop, the user just double-clicks on the icon. As this session is established on the terminal server, any login scripts or home directories will be applied. Here, the seamless application has been launched on the Linux desktop. It appears just like a local application. To exit the application zone, simply click on File and Exit. Any published desktop shortcuts will then be removed. Next, we'll take a close look at the Windows MSI-based installer. The MSI installer is found on the WebConnect installation under the Add-ons directory. The MSI installer is especially useful for installations on systems that are locked down, that does not allow for web-based installations and downloads. The MSI installer is found under the Add-ons directory and then the Remote View folder. The MSI installer can also be run silently to push the Remote View component onto the desired desktops. Refer to the documentation for more details about the MSI installer. The steps for the installer are very straightforward. There's not much intervention required. Simply click on Next to step through the installer. Once the Remote View MSI has been installed, it can be activated in one of two ways. The first is by going to the WebConnect URL and having the user log in. The application zone that is launched is actually using the locally installed version, not a downloaded one. The second method of using the locally installed Remote View component is to simply create a shortcut from the PTAgent exe. Right-click on the PTAgent file and click Create Shortcut. Once the shortcut is created, go to the Properties and edit the command line by adding appropriate parameters. A list of the parameters can be found in the PowerTerm WebConnect Administration Manual. The MSI component can be uninstalled by going to the control panel's Add Remove Programs. Simply select the Remote View component and click Remove. PT Start is a client that is used on Windows and Linux-based thin clients. The PT Start application can be found under the PowerTerm WebConnect installation in the Add-ons folder. Open the PT Start subdirectory, and you'll find versions for Windows, Linux, and Windows CE. These components are designed to run on thin clients. To load PT Start, simply copy the executable to the thin client. You can create a shortcut for the executable as well. When PT Start is launched, it will prompt for the WebConnect server address. Once the connection is made, all the necessary components will be downloaded from the PowerTerm WebConnect server. PT Start is essentially a downloader that retrieves the necessary files based on user demand. As users select certain applications, the necessary components will be automatically downloaded. If you go to the About screen, you'll also notice the installation folder. This PT Start installed application zone operates just like a workstation-based application zone. The user can launch published applications and desktops right from the application zone interface. To end the application zone session, go to File and Log Out. Arriving in 2011 is the Ericom HTML5 based client. The HTML5 client lets you connect to any application or desktop without any download whatsoever. The user simply has to navigate to the Ericom URL, and once authenticated, will be able to launch an application or desktop right within the web browser. Again, this is pure HTML, so there is no client to download. Once the user is finished with the session, he or she simply has to log off, and there will be no trace of the session left behind. Thank you for watching. If you need more information, visit our website or email info@ericom.com.